to another episode of the Be Wise podcast. I'm your host, Chris Wright. So, man, just when you think the WNBA is over, even for Caitlin Clark fans, it's just never over. There was a podcast, the Bomani Jones show. I think it's called The Right Time. Anyway, Bomani Jones is an amazing cat. That guy's brilliant. I don't know if he's like Mensa or something like that, but he's a smart gentleman. Anyway, Bomani Jones had Elle Duncan on his show. Elle Duncan is a sports analyst for ESPN, and she does her own podcast as well. And they got into a discussion about who else? Caitlin Clark, of course. And I just wanted to watch it. I thought I was done with the WNBA. I didn't want to watch any more commentary, any more Caitlin Clark stuff. As you can see, I have the hat on. I am a fan. But I want to talk about basketball, and I got tired of all the social justice stuff, the race stuff, the color, the sexism, all that. I just wanted to be done with it, enjoy the NFL, enjoy the Major League Baseball playoffs, and be done with the WNBA. Snuck a little peek of the Liberty game, Lynx. Game 1 was amazing. Tonight, Game 2 was a debacle. It was horrible. And so I just went back into my shell. But for a couple of days, I cannot get my mind off the Bomani Jones Elle Duncan conversation because it was compelling. It was compelling because Elle Duncan was kind of going in the direction of the status quo of the woke sports media, saying all the things that you're supposed to say. And I don't even know what Elle Duncan's ethnicity is, if she's a mixed race, if she's full black. I don't know. Nor do I care, but I think when you look at her, she comes off like a black woman. What's that mean, Chris? I don't know. We'll have to dig deeper for that. Anyway, she's going down this path, and I thought, well, yeah, Bomani Jones is going to agree with her because he doesn't want to embarrass his guests. I mean, he has to do that, right? As a guest, I got to shake my hand in agreement, like, yeah, I feel you. And then suddenly, Bomani took a left turn. It was like, it's like, oh, I bet Elle Duncan didn't expect that. We're going to watch a little bit of that. But being a social justice warrior, as they say, is not always the most. It's not the most prudent thing to do. And if you remember, I mean, if you're a little baby and you don't remember, Michael Jordan when he was pressed about the Democratic, who was it? It was I forgot the guy's name. Someone was running in Carolina. I think he was the Democratic candidate, and they asked, "Would you endorse him?" Because that would have been the biggest endorsement that this guy could ever get. Michael Jordan endorsing you? Wow. And Michael Jordan said, "I really don't get into politics." He said, "Republicans wear sneakers too," and that was because Nike had just signed him to a huge multi-year, multi-million-dollar contract, and he did not want to get into politics because he didn't want, Republicans not buying Nike just because he endorsed this Democratic candidate. So that's the folklore. I was trying to find the actual video on that when Michael Jordan said Republicans wear sneakers too. I couldn't find it. I looked everywhere. I looked in, I put in every type of search. There was sound bites, and maybe when he said it, there was no video. So, I mean, YouTube has archives from far away. I looked on ESPN archives, Fox Sports archives, everywhere. I could not find that video. So if you can find that video, send me the link, put it in the comments. Let me know if you can find a video, not a soundbite. And I bet you'll have a hard time finding a soundbite too of Michael Jordan actually saying Republicans wear sneakers too. For all we know, it could be folklore. Right. So, but let's talk about people who come out. Okay, so LeBron James, as popular and as famous as he is, there are millions of people who don't like him because he tries to be a social justice warrior. He tries to speak for Black people. He tries to, he talked about how, I think his house had the N word spray painted on it, or I don't know, but he's constantly talking about the Black community. Even he opened the academy, the school, to talk about what he wanted to do for Black children, this, that, and the other. All right. Hey, and nothing is wrong with that. I'm just letting you guys know that sometimes being a social justice warrior just does not serve you. If you don't care about the money, you don't care about the fame, you don't care that you're splitting your potential earnings down the middle, so be it. By all means, there's a lot of athletes that are like that, and kudos to them. And you know what? It's called standing your ground, and you don't care what the outcome is. I'm going to do the work. I'm going to speak my mind. I'm going to say what's on, whatever comes out of my mouth. And if there's consequences to losing business, so be it. Nike may not like that. I mean, there are actually people who hate LeBron. A lot of conservatives hate LeBron. And when he was a flag bearer for Team USA, people was like, I'm not even going to watch the opening night of the Olympics because I don't want to see him carrying a flag after he talks bad about our law enforcement. He made some comments about you next. He wasn't really talking about doing any harm to a police officer, but you just can't come out with a tweet with a video talking about you next. That's just, some people aren't going to get it. Your words are going to be twisted, taken out of context. Steph Curry came out during the Olympics and gave a full-throated endorsement to Kamala Harris. Now, Steph is different because he's not going to lose any fans. I mean, Steph is Steph. He's non-threatening. Some people will say he's light-skinned. He's small. He doesn't have this overpowering presence. And I just think that, and not only that, he did it during the Olympics. I think they were kind of between games, and he came out and gave her an endorsement, and then they played it at the DNC, and it is what it is. But Steph's not going to lose. Not only that, he endorses Under Armour. I mean, Under Armour is not Nike. Under Armour is not even Adidas. So they're big. I'm not diminishing Under Armour, but it's not Nike. I think Nike would have said, "Can you wait till after the election?" Or I don't know. Nike might have told him not to endorse anybody, but Under Armour's not going to stop him from doing that. So, and Steve Kerr also endorsed Kamala Harris at that time. So, but I want to talk about Caitlin Clark. So, I did a video back in June because I could see. I mean, where are we in now? We're in October. So this was at the beginning of the WNBA season, and I saw the swell of emotion. And this was even before getting stabbed in the eye, the racist talk. It was just like before all of the love from Black fans, and when it became a racial issue, right? But and I could see it going, and they were like, her fans were rabid, and the other NBA players felt some kind of way, like, we don't like Caitlin Clark fans, and Caitlin needs to come out and say something about it. We don't like. I mean, I've never ever heard in sports where an athlete was being asked by social media, the world, you need to come out and say something about your fans. Boston has been known as one of the Celtics fans I'm talking about. They've been known, and I don't know this to be true, but they've been known as racist fans from players, from other fans, from the NBA players. And I've never heard someone say, Larry Bird, you need to go talk to your fans. Paul Pierce, Antoine Walker, y'all need to talk to your fans. Have you ever heard that before? Now all of a sudden, I guess Caitlin Clark's in a different boat. Caitlin needs to say something. She's not speaking out. And DeJounte Carrington, who plays for the Connecticut Sun, even had the nerve to come out and say, because of her privilege, or when Caitlin says she doesn't want to get into it, whatever, I'm not sure of her exact words. DeJounte Carrington said, oh, that's because, she has the privilege, or it takes a lot of privilege to not say anything. That's for another day. But today, I just want to focus on the fact that Caitlin Clark wants to be like Mike. She wants to be like Mike. Mike didn't want to get involved. Caitlin's like, listen, I don't want anybody using my name as a weapon. I don't want people weaponizing my name. I don't want to be used in arguments to discuss, social issues or racism. Racism is wrong. I will tell you that. I would denounce it. But let's keep my name out of it. People feel a certain kind of way. Don't attach them to me. That's kind of what she said in so many words. I'm paraphrasing. But she's like, listen, I'm only making $75,000 in the WNBA. I'm making my other 50 million outside. So don't blow that for me. So I'm not going to come out here and take a side. You guys can do that. But I saw that swelling in June, and I made a TikTok. So I want to let you know that I was ahead of the curve. And let me just show you my TikTok, just so you'll know.
Don't fall for it, Caitlin. Don't you fall for it. Stay strong. Stay strong. There's a lot of people that are out there that's trying to get you to view the world through a racial lens, to get involved in this politically correct social justice movement. Don't do it. All right. So what some people don't know is that Des Moines, Iowa has a very, very large minority population. Being around minorities is not foreign to her. It has a 5% black population. I bet a lot of people didn't know that. I bet you thought that it was white bread, farm country, Iowa. No, look it up. Des Moines, look at the black population in Des Moines. It's pretty significant. Even her high school was like 25 to 30% minorities, blacks, Hispanics, Asians, and other. All right. So it's not like she doesn't know how to operate, how to move, how to be or conduct herself around minorities. But they want you to start this talking. Now, here's the thing, Caitlin. You can't win. You cannot win because if you go woke, you're going to lose a lot of those conservative fans. And then if you decide that you're going to speak out against it, then you're going to lose all of the liberal and woke fans. So you stay neutral, you stay right in the middle. Get that Nike money, get those endorsements. They will never be able to say that you took a side. You know what you said? That was correct. You did the Will Smith. Keep my name out of your mouth. I don't appreciate you using my name to wage war. You keep it up. I love what you're doing. You know what? They hate you because they ain't you. Peace.
So that was in June. And like I said, I saw the writing on the wall. I said, man, they're going to push this girl. And next thing she's going to do is she's going to wind up being on some press conference, saying something that's not organic, saying something that's performative, saying something that she doesn't really feel, but she was pushed, her back was against the wall. The WNBA commissioner, Caitlin, you got to say something. Coach Christine Sides with, today I think you should say something. And she stuck to her guns. Season ended, and Caitlin Clark did not have that woke race talk moment. She didn't do the Obama and have the race talk. She doesn't have to. She's not obligated to do that. And I am so glad that whoever, her mentors are, whether it's family or her dad or her coach, who's ever around her is really, really guiding her properly. And man, kudos. I like her for so many reasons, but this one is a huge one. Do not go down that aisle, and I hope she sticks to it next year. Because next year it's going to be even worse. And they're going to talk about why in this next clip. But we're going to go through this clip, and I'm going to stop it here and there to give you some commentary on what my thoughts are on it. But like I said, it did go down a path where Elle Duncan thought she was going to get some support and backing, and Bomani Jones was like, nah. Let's take a look.
Idea that she joined a locker room composed of and comprised of people that she had never really played with before. Whenever there was a lot of criticism to Caitlin for how she was sort of handling this and whether she was speaking out enough or using her platform enough, someone came to me and told me something that I thought about, that also was a legacy basketball player that grew up in an all-white environment and then was sort of thrust into a not white environment as their basketball career progressed. And she said, she will get there with time.
So one thing I want to say is, where's Elle Duncan getting this experience, this information from? What makes her think that Caitlin's been playing basketball since she was tiny? I don't know if you saw videos. 3 years old, she was bouncing the ball around. She also is from Des Moines, Iowa, which has a heavy ethnic population, Blacks, Asians, Hispanic, etc. Yes, it's predominantly white, but it's Des Moines, Iowa. And where do most Black people flock to and live? In the major cities of every state. You don't, I've never met a brother from Albuquerque, New Mexico. Maybe I have. But my point is, I'm sure if I go to Albuquerque, I'm going to see Blacks, Mexicans, Hispanics, Asians. Pick your city. In every state in America, if it has a large population, it's probably going to be Black people there. So I just wanted to point, ask, where did Elle Duncan get this information that she's never played around with against Black players?
Has never been around these type of women. She's never been around, Black women or women from different parts of the country. Like, she's sort of existed in this bubble of women that were raised with similar backgrounds, Black, white, or other. They had similar backgrounds. And so
what is that similar background? Middle class? I don't know. White, Catholic? What? They all had similar background. So she looked at she says, I've been following Caitlyn since she was a freshman. She said this earlier in the video. This is not on this clip. I've been watching her since she was a freshman at Iowa and blah, 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 blah. And so you knew her in high school? No. You know, middle school, AAU, travel? You have no idea whether she played around Black girls or not. At least according to what you're saying. That's not what I'm hearing.
Socioeconomic backgrounds, and she'll get better with understanding and talking about race the more that she is exposed to people of different about race, the more that she is similar backgrounds and socioeconomic backgrounds. And
Socioeconomic background. I think that's kind of where she's going with it. Socioeconomic. So she said in that. Okay, so let's say she's not just talking about Black women. Even if there was a Black girl on her team in Iowa or two Black girls, they don't count because maybe they were upper middle class or they were from they went to the same, type of churches and Catholic schools or private schools. Asia Wilson went to private schools all her life. Asia Wilson's dad was in the NBA, but she's doing fine playing around Black girls of all different, socioeconomic levels and colors and mixed races. So I don't know. I just don't buy that.
And she'll get better with understanding and talking about race the more that she is exposed to people of different backgrounds. But right now, anything that she's saying is going to sound a bit performative because she doesn't actually know. Give her time. She'll be more comfortable talking about race and things like that. But
What do you mean give her time? See, Elle Duncan, this is what pisses me off. Give her time. She'll get there. She'll get there because she must do it. No, she doesn't. She does not have to do this. Like, it's not like when she's more mature, when she's been around more Black people, when she understands the sisters. According to her TikTok, she hangs out with Lexi Hall. So she has no interest in hanging out with sisters at this time. And that's perfectly fine. People hang out with people who they're familiar with, who vibe with them, regardless of color or background. All right. So give her time, she's saying. It's almost like, okay, if I was a Democrat, or let's say I was a liberal, and I hung around my people and they were like, well, he's new to politics. He's just learning. He'll come around. He'll just keep feeding him the rhetoric. He'll come around. Now, granted, that's kind of what happened to me, but it happened on my own, where I just the Democratic Party, the left, the liberals, they left me, and I'm looking for something different. But it wasn't because there's no messages within the Democratic community that I don't understand or that I don't agree with. So this is just, give her time, she'll come around, she says. That just irks me.
you also have to understand too the weight of on her shoulders as well. She's the golden goose. She's got, Peyton Manning's agents. Like, she's got so many endorsements online. She's got millions and millions of dollars at play. And I think that Caitlyn also doesn't want to say the wrong thing. And I'm not.
Okay, so on one hand, she says she'll get there, she'll grow. And on the other hand, she says, yeah, but she has like Peyton Manning's agents. She has too much money at risk. So maybe she won't come around. Maybe she's going to stay 10 toes down and say, I'm not going there. I got too much at stake. So what are you saying, Elle? Are you saying that she should come around, or should she protect that money? protect her generational wealth, her family. That should be more important than caping for some race issue that doesn't make sense.
Sure that it's one of those, Michael Jordan Republicans buy sneakers too. I don't even think it's at that level. I think it's that she doesn't want to say the wrong thing in general. She's 22 years old. Like she is
Well,
young and she's got the weight of all of this on her. And so I think giving her some grace on how she handled the situation as well is called for.
It's not weight at all, actually. There's no weight. Caitlyn looks like she's just chilling. She doesn't seem stressed. She's handled it well. When she goes to her press conferences, she says all the right things. They have pressed her. They've asked her those questions. She just rolls with it, goes with it. I mean, what are you going to do? So let's see. So she said all that, and now she's waiting for Bomani to respond. One thing, if you look at this video, Bomani's been looking down at his laptop or something the whole time she was talking. He was like, hurry up and finish. Hurry. Now, listen, I know when I've interviewed guests on podcasts too, and I'm doing some research, maybe I'm looking up another fact or something like that when they come out. And you're listening with one ear and you're focusing with the other ear. So I don't know whether he was listening to her and I just looked weird when I was watching it. But now it's time for him to speak. And I think that she's waiting for him to go, yeah, Elle, you're right. And then to pile on to that. But that's not what happened. Take a listen.
you talk about sounding performative. Ask me who else sounds performative. The people on her back.
The people on her back are the ones that sound performative. The people that's telling her, you need to say something, Caitlyn. You need to say something. He's like, no, you sound performative.
Like on these matters, there's such a matter of performance. Like the idea that it is her responsibility to, this is somewhat generational too, right? We're talking about a lot of women, college educated in their 20s and early 30s. There's a language that is spoken around these sorts of matters and an expectation that people are supposed to stand before the world and prostrate themselves very often of their privilege. Hey man, real life, that ain't really how this goes. Like this isn't
Right.
this isn't really how.
She said, right. Inside, she's going, wait a minute. I just said that she needs to get there. She needs to be performative. She needs to prostrate before the public. And he's like, nah, she has no obligation to do that. I love this.
It is. She gonna have to pick up some stuff along the way. She probably will. But this idea that it's her responsibility to tell these people to stop. I mean, maybe. Like I understand where you're coming from. They're not gonna stop because she say so. Like I think there's a misunderstanding about this. Like Caitlin Clark is not. They're not doing that because
she said no.
They think she wants them to. They're not doing that looking for her approval. They're doing that because that's what they do. But so it just, I don't know. It went in a million directions this year, and maybe we'll get to the place where it goes to the basketball itself, right? Because I can't think anybody that's been.
Let me tell you why I don't see it though. Because the person that they keep comparing her to is Paige Beckers, who has spoke out about white privilege, right? Who has recognized. But again,
Yeah.
Paige's background is different. Paige's stepmama is a black woman, right? Like Paige's background is different. And so I think that next year, what I'm worried about is that it will become, when Paige comes to the league, it will become more of a comparison. Why can't you be like her? And they'll other themselves again, right? Like, why can't you speak out on this like she does? And
yeah, I said that earlier too, that when Paige Becker's come to the league, she's not going to have she's a great player. She's not going to have the fan following that Caitlin Clark is, because she is not so much middle America. You know what? People hate that I say this. No professional sports league in America will survive without white middle class to upper middle class middle America. It's not going to happen. The NBA, David Stern, when he came to the NBA, they were showing pre-recorded games on NBC. They called it too thuggish. It was too many drugs involved. They didn't have any code of conduct. They were lacking just any type of discipline. And David Stern came and put the slap down on the NBA. Magic and Bird came, and that's what they were looking for. These two All-American boys, one brown, one white, and it just changed forever. And then all these things happened. And even when he came with the dress code, because during the hip hop era of the 90s and the late 80s, players were wearing baggy pants, underwear showing, do-rags, big long gold chains, big white tees. And he's like, oh, you know what? We're losing the Arkansas white guy that works for IBM. They don't want to come to the games. They don't want to get the NBA League Pass. They don't want to watch it. They don't want to see you doing your hip hop thing with your do-rag on the cover of Slam magazine. That's not who's buying tickets. No league, not the NFL, not the NBA, not the WNBA will survive. I'll give you a perfect example. Look at the NHL. It thrives. You can go to most NHL games live, and you can go to most NHL games live, and the arenas are full. Why? Well, they didn't need the black dollar, but they definitely needed the white middle class dollar. So Paige Beckers is not that, and she would not attract. You gotta remember White Chocolate? Jason Williams used to play for the Sacramento Kings. He didn't sell tickets. He was white, but he was too black. He was white, but he was too, you know what I mean? He was down with the culture. He was down with the hip hop culture. He does podcasts. I love Jason Williams. There's no knock on him. But I'm just saying that doesn't attract. Now this is what the ticket buyers say. He's too thuggish. He's too hip hop. They don't like that. As racist as it may sound, I'm just giving you the raw truth. So Paige Beckers is not 100% that, but if you watch her TikToks, you see she hangs out with like mostly black girls. She listens to hip hop. She dances hip hop, and she's going to have a large fan base. Don't get me wrong, but it ain't going to be Caitlin Clark fan base. I promise you. And then at the ESPN, at the ESPYs, she gave a speech about, owing everything to black women and giving black women credit. And that just didn't set well with a lot of middle America. Not that they're anti, they're just tired of being preached to. A lot of middle Americans say, I like who I like. I don't need you to tell me who I need to give kudos to. All right. Shut up and dribble, take your award and go home. We didn't need that. That's not what Caitlin Clark does. So Paige Beckers will be big. People are waiting for Juju to come. That may not be a racist issue at all. She'll be very good. Very, very, very good. It's not going to be Caitlin Clark eyeballs, though. See, some people look at this as a sport, but it's more than just a sport. Now it has become a cultural thing. All right. So let's see if they're finished real quick. I think they were finished.
And why aren't you more like this? And I worry that instead of just embracing Paige, who's going to be dynamic.
Yeah, Caitlin's not going to care about you comparing her to Paige Beckers. And Paige Beckers has a problem because she has to figure out who she is when she comes in. Am I going to come and play basketball, or am I going to come and put my cape on for black women? She has to decide what her role is going to be. But yeah, so that's that. I thought this was a outstanding. Go watch the whole thing, because the whole thing is an hour, and they talk about some interesting things, not just about Caitlin Clark, but some other stuff that you might be interested in regarding the WNBA, sports, race, culture, politics, etc. All right, guys, that's it on this show. I will talk to you later at the B Watts Podcast. I'm your host, Chris Wright. You guys take care.